Todoroki? He didn't respond, and your heart fell to your feet. Todoroki, please. He stopped dragging you, stopped walking completely. Todoroki dropped your wrist, and you wondered if you should be scared, because you really didn't want him to be mad at you, ever. You looked in front of you. Todoroki had began shaking. He looked like he wanted to crumble to the floor. Todoroki, do you know? You gulped, backing up. He sounded angry, and you did not want to be the only person around when he randomly unleashes his left side, as he did with Deku at the sports festival. How awkward that was. What? You looked up. Todoroki was still facing forward, but his head had turned slightly. His face was bright red, brighter than his left part. He was, you finally realized, embarrassed. Oh, Todoroki. He was so damn cute. He was older than you, and yet you were the one who kept falling for the adorableness he had. What? Now he looked... What? Now he looked a bit confused, but red still flooded his cheeks. Look, please don't ever put me in... What are you laughing at? Stop that! He walked forward and grabbed your shoulders, shaking you lightly. You know that Todoroki knew what being embarrassed was. He just lacked the facial expression for it. But, man, did he have it down now. Maybe this would be easier than you thought. I'm sorry. You put your hands up, but in my defense, you just looked so cute. Todoroki stopped moving, and your laughter stopped as well, opening your eyes. You thought he looked even brighter than before. Understanding that he was now embarrassed because you had called him cute gave you a slight boost in your pride. Am I really? He started, and you watched his eyes, a slight blush coating your cheeks at the thought. Go on, say it. Cute to you? You smiled, walking in front of him. We should really get going. I really am hungry now. Maybe you should wait outside this time. I am sure I can manage by myself. Sweat dripped down his brow. Oh my gosh, no, Todoroki, I was only pretending to be displeased. You rubbed your stomach. I really wish we had stayed, to be honest. The flea market entrance was coming into view, and you felt bad about not looking around, about just coming here to help Todoroki. It's not that you minded, but you really wish you could have stayed longer. Well, why did you cause a scene? He shrieked quietly, because only Todoroki could make that a thing. To help you, you stated simply, looking over your shoulder at him. It took him a while to respond, and when he finally did, all he said was, "Oh." You looked over your shoulder again, throwing your hands behind your head. Oh, come on, don't look so sad. You look more disappointed than me, and I'm the one starving. You know, you really did well today. I think you deserve a prize. Should we look around then? But after we're done eating, we can always come back another day. But I haven't been to a flea market in forever. I'll get you anything you want. As you were ranting on and on, you failed to notice Todoroki's lack of participation. He looked so solemn, and you wanted to say something. But, I mean, exactly what could you say? Was the only reason we came here today because you wanted to help me? His voice rang out loud and clear, and you heard something like anguish in it. You laughed nervously, This is what you expected from him when you acted like a snobby, entitled Karen, not whatever you did wrong now. Yes? He looked up, and his eyes looked dark and tired, even. I just remembered I have training. I'm sorry, but I have to go. Oh, okay. You sounded distant and hurt, but that's because you were. You didn't really want Todoroki to leave. It would be kind of boring without him. You could call up Hikari, but he was probably at the hospital with Aoi. You felt bad about not visiting him. You hadn't seen him since the first time you'd visited. You just hadn't had time. At least, that's what you told yourself and everybody else. I'll see you later then? Yeah. He looked highly depressed as he headed for the exit. Maybe he really did have training with his god-awful father. Over your previous outings with Todoroki, he'd always either talked bad about his old man, made fun of him, or ceased talking about him altogether. He usually skipped his training to come out with you. He never mentioned it, but you always got the feeling. Why was today different? Maybe his father had messaged him, or maybe he had something more important to do. Although he didn't look too excited as he left, more like somebody had died. Oh my god, you thought? Did someone die? Nah, no way, but what if? You eyed Todoroki's back as he walked away, and after a few more steps he was out of sight. A bad feeling surrounded you as you stood there without him. Maybe he was just busy, and he made that excuse to get away. But you knew Todoroki. He wouldn't stoop that low. Something else had to have been going on. You made a mental note to text him about it later. Maybe if you got lucky, Katsuki would be moving his things into the UA dorms and wouldn't be in the house, meaning you could call him. Maybe, you thought, an uneasy feeling settling in you, deciding you would look around a bit more. You could probably find something for Todoroki. You whipped out your phone and messaged him. You looked at his name in your contacts and decided to change it, thinking it would help you feel a little bit better about the situation. Contact name changed to Loverboy Heart. You smiled to yourself and opened your messages. Me. Hey, gonna look around for a bit. Loverboy with heart. Okay. You analyzed your messages. When the hell did you start writing like you were being graded? And why the hell did Todoroki only send a K? What the hell was that supposed to mean? You beat at your keyboard, but then deleted everything you had written out. Maybe he really was just busy with training. Although, you couldn't shake the feeling that it wasn't just training. You bit your lip and shoved your phone back into your pocket. A few days later, Katsuki was stomping around like he usually did. The only thing you really thought about was why. He was muttering as well, which was a little abnormal for him. At first, you didn't really mind. When you were younger, and Deku still came around, he did it too. You were used to it, yes. However, mutter, 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 mutter. You just couldn't take it anymore. It was getting annoying, and there was only so much you would put yourself through before having a mental breakdown. Could you stop that? Katsuki looked at you, his pacing ceasing at your outburst. You watched on, trying very much to think about him and his annoying, brooding, idiotic face, rather than the fact that Todoroki hadn't texted you since last week, or the fact that Aoi had come out saying he would be starting treatment in the coming fall. He would no longer be in attendance at school, nor would he have the energy to work on any homework. All his time would be spent kept in the hospital bed, trying to recover from these treatments. You spoke with him last night. Of course, you still hadn't seen him since the first time. You haven't had the guts to yet, but you hoped that you would slowly change. It was already the end of April, and you had lots of things on your mind. Another thing being grades at school. You hadn't brought it up with Katsuki about tutoring you because of everything that went down with Aoi and now Todoroki. You just haven't had the time to do anything, although these past few days you'd been splurging from school to home, not going out with Todoroki or visiting Aoi as you tell your parents and brother, meaning you've had time to catch up, and boy were you behind. You were going to try and work up the courage to ask Katsuki for help, but he's been in his head all week, decided if that he could not handle human communication since he had been muttering to himself as well all week. You sat by yourself and watched helplessly. I'm not doing anything. Are you daft? Call me that again. You sigh, knowing this was going to bring nothing but trouble. I'll be in my room. Don't walk away from me. Walking away. Katsuki fumed from behind you, but you ignored him, thinking about Todoroki and the like. Me. Hey, how have you been? Draft not sent. Me. Hey, just checking in. Draft not sent. Me. Hi? Question mark. Draft not sent. Me. Meet a better spot. Draft not sent. Me. Our spot. 4 o'clock. Loverboy. Sure. Well, that was unexpected. He actually gave you more than a 1-letter reply. Maybe he was finally getting time off. It was Sunday tomorrow, after, hence the reason Katsuki was home, and since he was probably going to be a muttering pain in the butt all day, you wouldn't miss him. I've missed you. You gave an awkward smile, which quickly turned into a frown. No, that sounds clingy and way too flirty. You lifted your smile once more. It's been a while. It fell almost immediately again. I'm gonna go throw myself in a ditch. That would be a sight. His no longer as monotonous as it was when you first met him voice said, Todoroki! You spun on your heels like you were a trained ballerina, facing Todoroki in an instant, and regretting it immediately after, because his face was too close for comfort, and his eyes held emotions, something you had not seen from Todoroki until today. Clear and utter emotion. His stare held you in your place, even as he sat down. He did not break eye contact. It seemed as if Todoroki's main goal right now was to put you on the stand and have you plead guilty, or simply to make you look like an idiot. Something felt off. The ice-cold air intensity from when you first met Todoroki in the hallway of UA. His indifference was absolute back then, though it wasn't really his fault. Now, it felt more like a challenge. So, you start but get cut off. So? Are his eyebrows narrowed? Is he mad? It certainly felt that way to you. You chuckled dryly. Why don't we order? Sure. Todoroki's mouth slid into somewhat of a grimace. You wondered what his problem was. To have Todoroki, of all people, grimace at you was the epitome of your being. Your heart sank, and you came to the conclusion that Todoroki, for whatever reason, really did not want to be here. Thank you, your orders will be out in a moment. Asuna smiled, although she gave you that look that suggested she felt something other than happy. You shrugged your shoulders, and she pinned you with a stare that said, Fix whatever you did wrong. I don't know what I did. You wanted to shout, although it seemed useless, since she had already disappeared to the back. You take a deep breath to both buy you some time and mentally prepare yourself for bringing up his attitude. It's pretty obvious, isn't it? You shut your mouth so quick, because if Todoroki, who was technically older and should be the bigger person in situations like this, wanted to take the reins, then by all means. What is? He closed his eyes and sighed. Me? I'm mad, annoyed, or whatever. You nodded your head, facing the table because you could not look at him right now. I want a verbal response from you, if that isn't too much to ask. You shivered as his breath coated the skin right above your ear. Of course, you'd heard him slide onto the table and place his chin in his palm, but you didn't think he'd do something as scandalous as that. Yeah. He leaned back, giving you some space to breathe. Well, he asked, and you were confused. With your big brain energy, you weren't acting the part. You shrugged your shoulders again, you unable to form a coherent sentence when you were like this, anxious. Why? Why I'm mad? Oh, why are you mad? Todoroki oddly broke out into a grin. When had he learned that trick? He was going to murder, absolutely massacre people with that little ace up his sleeve. Another sigh came from his lips. Oh, little Bakugo. I told you to stop calling you that. Yeah, I know. This had to be an imposter Todoroki. It had only been a week, but he was acting like an actual, like a boy. Like that dunce face. It was creepy to say the least. You don't seem mad anymore, you murmured into your sleeve. No, I'm still very much annoyed at you. At you. Oh, what? Your lip quivered a little. How could he be annoyed, let alone mad at you, and still act so friendly? Yep, he sighed, a calm smile replacing his grin. He looked reminiscent. I'm mad because... I knew it! Explosion after explosion after explosion. Then you were yanked away from your chair, and Todoroki was getting pulled by his shirt into the air and thrown across the room. This all being done by one single person. What are you doing here?